is the centre of the universe, so we keep getting told every week. We're live on Facebook, YouTube and Starleaf. You probably spotted that my name is not Graham Blakey, I am Brian Johnson. Graham is away having his plastic surgery this weekend at short notice. He hasn't told us what's happening, but we'll find out in due course.
I thought it was a lobotomy was away getting Brian, no plastic surgery.
Something added on or something added taken off, we're not 100% sure.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, we have, as usual, a resident expert Neil Forbes with us this week and Gregor behind the camera doing his stuff. So, Neil, what have you been up to this week?
Oh, just the usual, Brian. It's great to be here. There was a beautiful sunshine 50 minutes ago, shower of rain, and it's actually freezing out here. I'm not going to tell you why we're out here, but the main reason is we reckon Brian Johnson's been banned for the market, so we've no choice but to record from outside, so we're just covering ourselves out here. So I can see Claire the chef in the background there, keeping an eye on, make sure you didn't get in, Brian, but we'll not upset the staff too much.
No. Actually, the real reason is the pub is mobbed tonight because Graham's not here. The word's got out. Anyway, so a couple of messages before we get. Obviously, we have the world record attempt coming up on the 4th of September, only on Starleaf, so get your registrations in on the Whisky Passport website, which is www.1775wp.com.
We prefer you to register so we can keep you updated and send you the link at the last minute or the day before, but if you can't get registered, we'll help you get on in due course on the 4th of September at 8:30. In fact, we're going to be live from about 8:25. We've got the world famous Spud the Piper joining us from Ardmore, the famous Spud. He'll be outside the Cairnground Hotel in Ardmore. He's going to play us a few tunes to lead us into the world record attempt.
Okay, and also on the Isle trip, are we fully booked for that, or have we got a couple of spaces left?
No, we've still got 3 spaces left, Brian. We can actually up that from there. There's plenty of seats in the plane, but I'm just trying to get these 3 seats sold before we book the flight. So get yourself done. It's the 12th to the 14th of March. 2 nights. We'll be visiting 5 or 6 distilleries over the 2 days. I've actually got taxis arranged just to
So, folks, well, you're logged into the Facebook page. Let us know that you're there. Let us know who's online. Let us know what your favourites are as we go through this. So, what whiskies have we got tonight?
This evening, Brian, we've not got the bottle just now. We're going to go something to the bottle. It's a Glenard, a 2007 cask strength. It's 50%. No, it's not actually. It's 46%. But it's off the Signatory collection. The Signatory, I'll explain as we go through it. It's quite different. It's distilled in Glenard, but matured elsewhere, and we'll tell you a bit about more of that. I keep telling you about the whiskies which are underrated. Auchentoshan and Freewood is again very much like the Tamnavulin. I've remembered it this week. Tamnavulin, grossly underrated whisky. I think we'll look forward to tasting that. Then we're going to finish once again. I always tell you about the whisky regions and the flavour map. Isla's not only the peat area. We've got a Speyside which is nice and peaty, Old Ballantrae from Tom and Toole Distillery. So that's what we'll get finished with today. And just before we go any further, Graham's not here, so I've taken liberties today, folks. Here we go for the director's dram.
Take away, Graham.
We've got Glengarry Virgin Oak.
Can any of you shoot me?
It's only £12 a dram. We have
Macallan. Drinking my expensive whiskey.
We have Macallan Estate, £20 a dram. Is number 2. And just for you, Graham, number 3, we've chosen Glenfiddich Grand Cru. Oh, that's £20 a dram as well. So there you go. Number 1, Glengarry Virgin Oak. Number 2, Macallan Estate. And number 3, Glenfiddich Grand Cru. Thanks for leaving them for us, Graham. I bet you wish you were still here now, but you're bottom getting done.
Get your folks in now, folks. And we've just realised that Graham's actually showing on 50% of the screen. Can you hear us, Graham? Can the viewers hear you or see you?
Brian, you're sacked before we even get started.
It was his idea, Graham, nothing to do with me. So there you go, folks, that's the director's drams. Graham's away, the cat will play or the mice will play, whatever the same thing is. We're going to enjoy these drams. I'm going to be getting a taxi in the night so I can drink them.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What's
what's
to be
our first whiskey of the night?
First whiskey of the night, as I said, Brian. Right, shut up, Blakey.
Go
First
away.
whiskey of the night is it's unchilled filtered. I'll tell you about that as well as we go along here. It's the vintage signatory vintage collection. It's Glenord. Glenord's a distillery from about 1826 or 1827 thereabouts, I think. It's on the Black Isle.
Is that when you were
It's a Highland.
born?
And what they do here, the signatory is actually Andrew Symington of Edredour. He created this company in 1983 when he bought the Edredour whisky. And what he done was, when they bought it for about 4 million allegedly, about a year later they went into the warehouses and found loads of whiskies maturing from all the different distilleries all over. So things like the Glenord was all there, and he's continued that vein ever since there. So you get lots of distilleries with the signatory vintage, and that is actually matured. It's distilled in its own distillery, so in Glenord in the Black Isle. Then it is actually matured in Edredour, just outside Pitlochry. Now the unchiltered is quite a classic one. I've explained that to you before. It's very fashionable now. It doesn't impact on anything to do with the single malt. Unchiltered is the original way to do it. It's just natural out of the cask. But when you put a touch of water in it, it actually becomes cloudy. And in the mid-90s and early 2000s, as it became a popular drink worldwide, the aficionados decided it wasn't the best way to do it. It didn't look very great, so they chill filtered it. All they do is they freeze it down to 0 degrees centigrade, and that actually takes all the some of the natural oils out of it, so the oils don't actually cloud over. So a lot of people take pride in unchiltered whiskies, wine, that sort of thing, but it doesn't impact on the whisky at all. Most people who know whisky, they didn't mind it getting cloudy. They know that's a natural way to do it. So I do prefer it this way. So yeah. Good. I can see you're standing there eagerly waiting, like
Absolutely,
like Blakey is
it's
normally.
the only reason I came. Free whiskey from Blakey.
So number one, those of you who got it, you'll see the colour of it. As I say, it's a Glenord. Glenord's a distillery. It's now owned by Diageo. They have 2 Glenord distilleries, but one at Glenord does a specific export. And they have a Glenord distillery in Dufton as well, which does a single din of Glenord, etc. from there. The first thing you do, remember, is have a wee look at this. I don't know, it looks really bright at the moment. I'm frightened a bit for the darkness, being outside here, but with young Nick's standing behind Gregor's, and he's got a torch to shine on Ryan's face. No, mine's all going to tap.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
You know, it's actually nice to be here today. I'm usually with Graham, and I look a wee bit like his father at times, maybe just his elder uncle.
And now you look like my granddad. That's what you would say.
No, to be here and be the youngest here, it's fantastic, it's great. Anyway, we'll go into our Glenord. You can see the colour of Glen, really golden, light golden, straw colour, very pale. So that tells us right away it's bourbon matured, no second influence here at all. And give it a wee sugar, we look at the legs, and you look at the legs very quick, very light, very delicate. And they're dropping away very, very quickly. So again, we don't know where it's going to sit in the flavour map. Take it to your nose. Immediately, there's absolutely... So Brian's even been trained on to hold up the light rich.
You're the rich side, obviously, because you've got all the money. I've never been called light for quite a while.
Delicate and smoky. So there's no smoke in this whatsoever. It's very light, very delicate. The legs are quick. You can see the lightness in the colour. So we're going to set this way down in the corner here. Down in the bottom corner. Not the lightest I've ever had, but certainly one of the lightest. It's way down there. Bottom left, no smoke, no richness, very little oils in it, so it should be quite an interesting one. Normally not my favourite, but I'm looking forward to this one because I'm a fan of Edredour, as most people will know, and anything that Edredour do mature. I think for 10-year-old whiskies, there's so much in 10-year-old whiskies line. Edredour, which really 20-year-olds in other distilleries don't really cover.
As I said to you earlier, it's on my list of favourites now.
Yeah, well, you'll be coming to the board meeting then, will you?
Oh, I might do.
It depends if you perform the night. Upset me tonight, you'll not be coming to the board meeting. Have we lost Mr. Blakey? We're looking at the film. So we've had a quick nose that you can actually see there is absolutely no smoke in it, so take it back to your nose right away. And the first thing you get is the citrus, really lemony. Quite a bit of lemon coming through there, lemon zest, it's like the peel of lemon coming through. A wee bit orange, just the longer you hold it there, Brian, I don't know if you'll get that. Brian, just for those of you who don't know Brian tunes in every single week with us, and he's just shown me before we came on here his list of favourite whiskies. So I think, and we'll talk about that maybe after this one, Brian, how genuine people are enjoying what we're doing and broadening their horizons and their knowledge of whisky. I think his list's no long enough. We'll need to get that longer.
It's getting longer.
I'm pretty sure number 2, when I saw your list, Brian,
number 2 is definitely on it.
It'll definitely be on it because it's an interesting knocking impression. So we've got that. We've got a wee bit of the peppery coming through. You know, it's almost like toast, you know, like buttered toast. If you just let toast cool down a bit with some butter on it, just like cool, you've just got that lovely and a woody, oaky nose coming through it. It's actually very pleasant. It's really nice on the nose.
Very light.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Not so let's have a wee taste of it. Wow, that's actually really good.
Oh, that's
Peppery.
Yep, very much.
Apples, yes.
Go
for it, right. Green apples.
Green apples! Sorry, Graham.
You know, it's more like green apples, apple blossom. It's not like the Granny Smith, the normal green apples. It's like a golden delicious. There's an element of sweetness coming there. Very flowery, the floral. I think it'll be not even. No, it's not heather. I'm trying to think of the flower. I'm going to have to have a wee sip at that.
See, I only know what it is after you've said it.
Yeah. No, I can't. I would just class it floral. It could be heather. Yeah, I would describe it as a bit heather sort of thing.
Yeah.
But just florally, peppery, oaky, woody. For a light, delicate whisky, there's quite a medium finish to that. Actually, it's a longer finish than I would expect it to be. But that's actually quite nice. Let's try it with a wee bit of water. Mr. Blake is still watching, Brian. You'll get jealous because I never quoted for him.
I don't know if he's online. I'm not. But I'm sure he'll be watching this somewhere.
He's always moaning at us.
Critiquing us.
Again, just put your touch of water, take it straight back to your nose, and it's as smooth as the day is long. You know, absolutely fantastic nose on that. You get the lemon, you get the orange, plenty of citrus going on there. You get it's almost like you would describe it as a bouquet.
Yes.
Bouquet of flowers sort of thing. You know, just a mixture, like the sweetness that's coming through. Quite nice.
Yeah.
You get the mood, the wee bit of openness coming through, and the water just opens up perfectly. Absolutely perfect. Which is so unusual with such a delicate whisky. On the palate. That's smooth. Yep. I watched the clearly chef standing behind the camera there, swimming. I think she's been on the whisky already. I wonder where all the drams are going today. But no, you've got the apple. For me, you've lost the lemon, you've lost that zest, which is like a bitterness. Yeah, but there's the green apple there, there's a floral bouquet coming there, a little bit peppery, and oaky and wood, and that's the bourbon. We'd always say the vanilla, we touch of vanilla coming through now.
Yeah.
The bourbon, you always get that dry vanilla, but I'm not getting any dryness in this at all. Normally, usually, short finish on it's such a light, delicate one, short finish, but it's really medium, really, I think that's...
It's extremely drinkable, I think that's... extremely drinkable, that's one you could have a few of.
Right?
Yeah. Probably could have a few of them all.
I think we get the taxi in Brian, are you?
Yeah.
But well, I saw your list, Brian, so tell us a wee bit about that'll blow away in the wind.
Yeah, that's probably yes.
What is your favourite whisky?
Well, way back in the day before we started the whisky tasting, my defaults were Glenfiddich and what's the other one I said to you?
Balvenie.
Balvenie, that's right, yeah. And those were the kind of go-tos, whether it was in a bar or people are buying the whisky. But after going through this, I've bought whiskies every week, and it's been an absolute revelation to me. I've never been a peaty whisky lover. I rarely took peaty whiskies, but Neil has introduced me to 2 or 3. Talisker is now on my list, and I can quite comfortably drink Talisker, and obviously looking forward to going to Ireland next year when I can expand that taste. But as I say, the list is that there's at least a dozen whiskies on there. But Aberlour was the biggest revelation to me. Aberlour was a whisky that I'd never had before. The 12-year-old, wasn't it?
It was the sherry matured, the double matured.
That was just outstanding.
I'll give you another one then.
So my boy's watching, by the way, at Christmas. Aberlour 12-year-old, Ross.
Oh, Ross, give him a better one than that. Abuna. Aberlour Abuna. It's a cask strength. It is the double matured, sherry matured as well. And it's 60%. But wow, for 60%. It's the smoothest cask strength I've ever had. It looks exactly like the Aberlour 12-year-old that we've had here, but it's fantastic. It's a bit expensive for a bottle, so...
Well, if he's buying, that's fine. He's got plenty of money.
For his maybe his 65th or something like that, Ross, it could be his next birthday probably.
No.
So when you talk about the Balvenie as well then, Brian, was it the double wood?
It was the double wood. I've had a number of bottles of double wood, and it's just a lovely whisky to have a couple of drams in the house with. And it's always my go-to in the pub, because you look at the gantry when you go into, you come into the market, what's Green got 150 whiskies up in his gantry?
200, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many to choose from, so you know, lots of people like me just gravitate to the ones you know, because you're frightened to try the ones that you've never had before. But certainly, I will be trying all these other whiskies next time. We can go to pubs and stand at bars.
Absolutely. You can tell Brian's quite a new whisky drinker, because the Balvenie double wood's not that old. I've been at it for a long time. It's the Balvenie Founders Reserve, a 10-year-old.
Oh,
It's
right.
still my favourite whisky all time. There's a car light just coming shining there. Hopefully it's going to keep us going in a bit daylight.
Good idea.
Gregor's has just put his car there. How we're getting through this, God only knows. But no, that's interesting. Balvenie, do you agree with me, Brian? Because I've said it many a time on the whisky flavour map. Balvenie double wood's bang
in the middle.
It's a great go-to whisky.
That's probably why I liked it, because it had no real extreme flavours in there, and it was in the and Glenfiddich to a certain extent is like that as well. Although there's green apples obviously in Glenfiddich, so yeah. But now my tastes have expanded hugely, and this has been a great experience. And I know other people who've been buying the whisky on this as well be saying exactly the same thing. It's opened their horizons. Open their horizons. Yeah.
Who's on
I was going to say, right,
online
who's online tonight? We've got Neil McIver's online.
You get your whisky okay, Neil?
Right.
I left it at your back door this afternoon.
My nephew Stevie Boy's online, as he is every week. He does it. He buys it every week. Susie Innes, who's a name I recognise. I know Graham knows.
Susan will be having a gin though. It's madness on the whisky. Yeah. She can't let him do anything without having a drink as well.
Hi, Scott Watson, Jamie Thorne, Julie Douglas is online, though she's not commenting, but I know you're online. And Liz Cunningham as well. Mike LaRue, Joe Myers, Stuart Blakey. Oh, Dad's online. Dad's online.
Mike LaRue, Mike's...
and Scott Urban.
Mike follows us quite regularly. He's Canadian. He spends a lot of time in Ballydolid, and I think I pronounced that right, Mike. Great to see you online again. So yeah, first class, absolutely great.
You're very welcome, folks. You're very welcome.
Yeah, thanks for joining us again. And we've got to be announcing for next week and the next 2 weeks. We'll just keep you informed as we prepare the next fortnight over to the World Record Challenge. Whisky number 2, as you can see the colour of it here, hopefully. It's really dark. It's Auchentoshan, what's called free wood. So again, it's like a double wood, which goes into 2 different casks. A free wood, triple wood, whatever you want to call it. And it's went dark again. This goes into the 3 different casks. Now, some of them, I know Balvenie do a triple cask, which for the export, well, it's not for export, it's for the duty-free shops. It's bourbon into sherry and back into bourbon again. Right. One of them, I think it's the third one's a virgin first fill. And the colour doesn't change that much because it lightens again. But this is obviously, I don't know what it's in, bourbon, Oloroso, and PX sherry. So it's 2 different sherry. So Oloroso always gives a nice, rich, dark colour. So just if you can see that there, I'll put a bit of extra wine for you.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
Did you pay your £25 for this week?
Yes, yes. Is Graham still online, is he?
You can take the bottle same way then. Auchentoshan. Those are a few from the States. Here's a challenge for you to pronounce that properly. Auchentoshan. Auchentoshan is actually 1800. I'm sure this distillery was opened. It's through the west of Scotland, just on the north side of the. I always get the bridge mixed up. The Erskine Bridge. The Erskine Bridge, just there, just outside Dumbarton. Not the most romantic of places like Edinburgh or Pitlochry in the countryside. That's the thing. But I think I've not been a great lover of a lot of their whiskies, but no, this one in particular. They do an American oak. Which is really toasted bourbon cask, which colours it a wee bit. That's actually nice and sweet. You don't get the dryness. Yeah. But this one, it's a few years since I had it. My recollection of it in Old George Ridbath. We used to work for Edrington. Maximum George was the famous grounds rep for 20 odd years, 30 years. Wow. I was just chatting with George online the other day, and George said this was one of his favourites as well. So George is well renowned, knows his whiskey. No great drink
forward to this one.
whiskey. So we look at the colour, you see, we know it's, when it says, tells you 3 wood, you know there's going to be extra stuff in it there. But the colour is really dark. It's almost like a brandy colour there.
Is that the real colour? There's no, that's from the barrels itself.
Well,
Yeah.
fake tan is being called it.
Yeah.
Very few people, very few distilleries actually say, yeah, there is fake tan, and very few will actually admit to it. But, you know, I don't worry about it if there is or there's not. It only impacts on the colour. It's like putting a bit of food colouring into your cake or something like that. It doesn't impact on your taste or your aromas or anything like that. So, have we look at the legs on it?
Yeah.
Like the legs are slow, really thick there, really thick legs, slow just coming down. Graham would love these legs. He likes these legs as well.
He does indeed.
So again, we know where it's going to go. To the right hand side, obviously, just with the colour alone. If you see the oils just coming down like that, absolutely.
I've been prompted.
Oh,
I've been prompted.
You're early. Take it to nose. Oh, that's just fabulous. That really is fabulous nose. Really got to there. Absolutely no smoke. So right away, we're going to right over to the right side. The opposite side. No smoke. And I would say we're sitting in the halfway line. But well over. Almost as rich as the Dow Ewins, the Ben Gordon, the Penrith, the Glendronach 18, which are 16 and 18 years, only sherry mature. So I think it's the majority of this maturation has been in the sherry cask. And I do like an Oloroso sherry because it does bring in that sweetness, that sort of dried fruit and sort of sweetness, different fruits, apricots, plums and that sort of thing. So, yep, let's have a nose at this. And right away, absolutely great. Talking about plums, the plums are there. Red apples, toffee, right, rich toffee caramel, almost treacly from there. Sherry. And then usually, you know, when you talk about plums, you know, black currants, blackberries, you've just got that, you know, in a berry, just a nice sort of richness of
Toffee
there.
and
You'll get the fruit?
no.
No, I want the fruit there. I like the fruit in it. Yeah, and again, the citrusy ones, they're what they are. I'm not a lover of them. I like the richer fruits, the richer whiskey, so it all just ties in from there. So let's have a wee taste of this one. Wow, that's great. Absolutely brilliant. Syrupy. Really thick syrup. The toffee really coming through. You can almost chew that, you know, like a syrupy toffee.
Yeah, it's going to stay there for a while, I think.
You can chew the toffee coming through there. And the fruit coming through now is like black cherries. You just get that wee bit cherry.
Yeah, I'm not a lover of cherries.
Yeah.
I'm not getting them because I don't like cherries. Sometimes the bad cherries, I suppose.
Fruits of the forest, but the toffee, it just, wow,
the
it
caramel,
really is.
definitely, that's
Caramel, bit rich. Ryan's obviously enjoying it. I've just gone for his second one.
Caramel keep going to say.
Yeah, I like that. It's a touch of water. Those of you, oh wow, and that light there, those of you who've got you put your water into this one, you can actually see the oil separating brilliantly. Really good, it's such a rich colour. And I didn't, Gregor's car lights are showing us a wee bit here in the light.
Legs
Legs are just slow, yeah, even just a couple of touches of water. This is great, this is absolutely great. And when you take it back to your nose, definitely the plums are hitting me there. The toffee's a bit, it's more caramel and out than toffee. I always think toffee is richer than caramel, if you know what I mean. And I would put it like Millionaire's shortcake, Millionaire's shortbread, that's what it reminds me of here. Wee bit chocolate coming through it now. Certainly syrupy, cherries, forest fruits, blackberries, black currants, that sort of thing. A wee bit of dried fruit coming through now as well, sultanas, Christmassy cake sort of thing.
the Christmassy cake.
Yeah, we'll get that. Yeah, so, okay, it's fabulous. I think many things I've seen that already now. Not the needed softening at all.
No.
That is just absolutely.
In fact, I probably prefer it without the water. I think.
Is it? No.
I've had it. I know you like water in
Yeah.
most whiskies, don't you?
Yeah, no, I'll take a look at it. What are you jumping up and doing for Gregor's?
Love that.
Gregor's is getting excited when it's getting dark. I think he's been out in the dark before. He's usually in his bed for 8 o'clock at night, or he's indoors. But, yeah, okay.
Speak towards the microphone. I think that's what he's trying to say, Neil.
Is that what it is?
Aye.
No, yeah, you're right, Brian. I always do, because I was always taught, as I keep saying, as a youngster, by Alistair Munro, who was a great manager of Glenkinchie, that water opens it up. And when you saw this, and we'll have a look at it later on off screen, the camera will not see it, but just look at the oil separating in this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just so smooth. It was smooth without it,
Yeah.
but it's more coffee and richer. It just opens up the flavours. That is way, and I have to say, Tarnavulin is probably the most underrated whisky in Scotland. I would actually say that is. On saying that, probably not, because Tarnavulin comes in about half the price of what this is. You're paying for the quality here, not Knockington. So it's pretty good. But Tarnavulin is certainly one of the better, and they're very similar. Our place the Knockington ends it, but you're paying a lot more money for the Knockington. So, wow, that's two great choices. Who picks on these whiskies, Brian?
Oh, no, great choice tonight. I think, actually, it's under Stuart Blakey on the Facebook feed. It's actually Graham. He's using his dad's phone. He says, just so you all know, I will be back on at the end and just on Pork Chop's account. So I'm afraid he'll be back on at the end, folks, just to summarise.
Is it a paid account? When you were remembering, yeah, for the director's drams, if you get some votes in, Glengarry, it's the Virgin Oak, which it's either well toasted or it could be sherry matured in a sherry ale, not quite sure. No, it's North American, so it'll be bourbon, so it'll be extra toasted with the darker colour there. Macallan Estate, £17.50 a dram. Get in there, Graham, you're beauty.
Macallan, folks, Macallan, vote for Macallan.
If you didn't vote for that, guys, I'll tell you what, I'll need to take the bottle home with me.
Yeah, we'll be carving up the vote for that, I think.
Number 3 is Glenfiddich Grand Cru. I'm not going to tell you much that is a bottle, but it's about £200 a bottle. Oh, did I say that? £200 a bottle. Graham will be peeing his pants at the moment, as I say just now. £20 a dram. So, Brian, you can take the Macallan or the Glenfiddich. I'll take the other one.
Yes, we'll take them home just to check that they're okay. Yeah.
You'll be praying that you go for the Glengarry. It's not a cheap one either, but it's the cheapest of the three. So it doesn't matter what happens. If you go for the Glengarry, folks, the other two are disappearing out the bar after the night anyway. So
before we move on to the third, here's a question for you that's been bothering me for weeks, and you put water in your whiskey. What about ice in whiskey? I see lots of people, they insist on putting ice in whiskey, but when I put ice in whiskey, it just seems to make it more alcoholic and cold, obviously, which doesn't really work for me.
It's a question I do when I do my master classes. I explain that. I go about the right way and the wrong way to drink whiskey. Is there a right way and the wrong way? And a long, convoluted way, I say there's not. And mostly in the American market, and there'll probably be a few guys in the States on today, and it's great to see if you are. On the rocks, as they call it, people say the water opens the flavours. The only science we really know about whiskey is when you cool it down, it closes the flavours. But before you put the water in, the flavour's closed anyway. So you put the rice in, it's closed flavours, so you're not getting any, for me, aromas, you're not getting any on the palate and the tongue. But as the ice melts, it's diluting it and opening the flavours as you go along. Yeah. Now, you've got to be very careful. As I say on that, I've been to Tokyo. If anybody's been to Tokyo and you see an ice cube or an ice ball in Tokyo with a word alive, this size of tennis balls. And they just fit in these big white glasses and they pour a dram of whiskey in. It's about 40 mils I think to get in Tokyo. And it drowns it. Yeah. So you need about half a bottle to make that worthwhile. So it just dilutes it down and opens the flavours. But if there's too much ice in it, you just got to dilute your whiskey and get your whiskey. I'm Mr. Consistent. I like my level. I like to think I'm level-headed. Other people will disagree with that, but I like my whiskey just to be consistent. Put my little drop of water in, and that's all. Drink it all the way through. If you like that little change every now and again, why not? Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason not to do it. And I always say it's mostly Germans and a lot of Dutch and some guys like that. And there's a few in Scotland who are really the old traditionalists. Will say it's sacrilege to put water, ice in your whiskey. Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. If that's where your bag,
anything except Coke.
Anything apart from Coca-Cola. Absolutely. And as I always say, even in these master classes, it's mostly Americans that have in the master classes. You know, Edrington and Diageo in particular, they're sending millions and millions and millions of bottles into Asia for the young Asian set to make cocktails with. Yeah. Who are we in a wee cottage industry here to say that from?
As long as they're buying it.
Aye, absolutely. And there's some fantastic whisky cocktails to have, and you'll enjoy it, and you get the flavours. And I would say as well, Lagavulin in particular, because of the sherry and the richness of it. My favourite way, believe it or not, to drink a Lagavulin 16-year-old is in the garlic coffee. Yeah. substitute the Jamison's and Irish coffee for a Lagavulin. Get your sweet sugar, your coffee and your cream, and drink that smoky, burnt Lagavulin through coffee. It's stunning. Absolutely
Try
stunning.
that tonight, folks.
There you go. Number 3.
Number 3.
It's Old Ballantrae. I've never heard it before. It's from Tomintoul Distillery, and those of you of local will remember the Cockbridge to Tomintoul Road. It's always the first road in Britain to be closed with the snow. It's a bit early yet. It'll not be closed yet, but I'll guarantee by probably the middle of October it'll be closed at one time. We tasted a 16-year-old Tomintoul in here. I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, Brian, we spoke about earlier.
Yes, that's on the list. Yeah.
Was it? I was a bit disappointed with it. It was nice, but I just felt for a 16-year-old it lacked something.
Okay.
It lacked it. But again, I've deliberately chosen a Speyside peaty just to get away from Isla's. I think the last 3 weeks we've had Isla peaty, then we went to Arran and we've done bits and pieces. So I've deliberately come away from Isla to have a nice peaty one. The Tomintoul is quite a young distillery, 1964. So it's a wee bit older than me, but a fair bit younger than Brian, obviously.
Oh.
I have to get that one in, Brian.
By the way, there's good news, Neil. The Macallan is leading the votes so
Is it?
far.
Oh.
Yeah. Keep the votes coming in, folks.
You still in, Mr. Blakey? Are you still with us?
Thank you very much. Yep.
Good.
Is he still there, is he?
Macallan miles ahead. Oh, this is going to be exciting. Get to the end. Right, we've got to have a wee look. It's a bit dark for me just now, actually. But,
use the car lights.
the car light. It's a fairly light colour. It's a golden colour, so yeah, bourbon matured. Give it a shake. Legs are pretty slow, actually. Yeah, it's actually quite matured than usual for just bourbon. I'm not quite sure what the maturation is actually. I see they've put unchilled filtered as well, so it'll be interesting with a touch of water. I find with the water, it's actually an interesting point, Brian, with the water and unchilled, I don't think it clouds that much. You just see a little bit of cloudiness, but when you put ice in it, for some reason it really clouds over.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
The temperature, obviously.
yeah, but yeah, the chill it to 0 degrees centigrade. Yeah. To get it in the chill filter, to do that, but not to worry. So, the further we look at it, we know it's peated now because I've told you it's peated, but just to put it in the flavour map, you got the flavour map, right?
There's my flavour map.
You'd have a quick sniff at it.
Yeah.
And it is difficult for me now to actually plot that because I can't see it. So it's going to be a wee bit more of mind on this one. So it is smoky, so we've got, it's not terribly smoky on that. So we're going to put it halfway up here. But I would always put it on the halfway line. The halfway line. It looks as if it's a bit richer. It's full of toasted bourbon matured. It's not that dark, it looks a fairly light colour, but just a wee bit more on the toasting from there. And a bit peaty, and it's actually, taking it back to our nose there, Brian, the first thing is just the sweetness of that honey. The sweetness just...
Okay, darling, Steelage line.
Oh, Steelage line, yeah. A bit vanilla, so that tells me now, yeah, it's just bourbon matured, just the vanilla. Yeah. A wee bit citrus coming through, nice orange, it's like a marmalade orange coming through. There's a motorbike coming past with lots of noise.
It's not that peaty though, is it?
No, it's not that peaty, but it's funny, the other ones we've had non-Isla on the nose, I mean, not that peaty, but it hits you on the palate, yeah. It's almost like heather as well, so if you've ever been at Cockbridge, Tomintoul Road, this time of year would be fantastic with the heather. The maturation coming through in that is absolutely fabulous as well. So really good. That's quite a nice one. That's a wee taste of it. It's pleasant. It smokes the first thing that hit you. Then it's the vanilla, then the citrus, and there's another fruit there. It's almost peachy for me, like peaches coming through, a real sweetness, a really lovely sweet coming through. The heather, that's pretty pleasant actually.
That actually reminds me of the Talisker we had a couple of weeks ago. It's not
it's
similar to that one.
Yeah, it was the sherry cask, wasn't it? Talisker we had.
Yep.
That's the focus.
I've got a collection of these pipettes now. I think I'm going to take them out with me when I go out to the pubs now.
We'll stop putting them in your box. Do you know how much they cost us?
Oh, great.
Take it back to your nose, and again the peat, whilst it's not disappeared. And an interesting thing, just with the vanilla, normally like a nutmeg and Lafroy, you get the antiseptic.
Aye, that's not
There's
there.
none of that there.
No,
So
definitely
I
not.
think remember the extra toasting off the cask, it's a speck is there.
It's
actually
very
taking
subtle,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah, but it's certainly orangey, vanilla, flowery, heathery sort of coming through, really nice. It's actually quite pleasant. I like that.
Oh, we're getting more lights on the...
More lights, yeah.
I can see on the screen it's a bit better now.
But that's why we came inside in the dark, because I do say Brian's got a face for radio right enough. I like that, Brian.
When the cat's away, you crack all the jokes. That's excellent.
The smoke's just very gentle peat, very gentle smoke. You get the feel coming through, but it's more the sweetness, the citrus, vanilla, and it's like a bit honey coming through.
Okay, now
But honey coming through there, which is unusual again for the bourbon matured. Yeah.
So one thing I haven't asked you this week, and I've been very remiss. Apologies, Graham. Your seal of approval for the 3 whiskies. Have you got a seal of approval for all 3?
Oh, you got an impersonation?
No, no, absolutely not. No, Gregor's going to come front camera and he's going to do it.
Yeah, I forgot about that as well, because normally Graham nudges me to remind me. Yeah, well, I'll start with this one. Yeah, definitely seal of approval. I just love the sweetness of that with the peat and the smoke. I just, it's got a real sweetness coming through it.
Yeah,
the aftertaste, the finish is quite long and lingering.
Yeah.
And all I'm getting now is if you have a Lagavulin, the lingering sort of finish down here is always just peat, just smoke.
It's quite a dry
Yep.
aftertaste as well, isn't it?
Yep. That certainly gets the seal of approval.
And I'm guessing I don't need to ask you about the Auchentoshan.
Auchentoshan is fantastic. As was the Glenord. No ifs or buts about it. I've really enjoyed all 3 there tonight, but on my views, and I look for your views as well, folks, anybody else can put their tuppence worth in.
What's your order, folks? What's your favourite whiskey tonight? Let us know.
For me, it's number 2, and they're really, really tight between 1 and 3. I think for the first time, I'm actually going to have a drop.
Okay.
The first time I'm going to have a drop. I don't think I've had a drop before. Auchentoshan for me, because as you know, I love the sherry, I love the richness and the toffee, the caramel, and that's on this side because I love toffee and caramel.
Yeah.
But no, Auchentoshan edged it, I would say. It wasn't a country mile ahead, it edged it. But the other 2, I'll hate putting the drop.
Okay.
I think that old Ballantruan is a Tom and Toole expression. It's far better than Tom and Toole 16-year-old. I don't think it's no age statement, so I don't know if it's younger or older.
Until I saw it today, I'd never even heard of it. To be honest.
It's only a 10-year-old biscuit. There you go.
Yeah.
10-year-old biscuit, and those of you who've got the packs here, I think they'll agree with me. Very much like an Edredor, lots and lots going on there. Lots going on. So I hope you can hear us actually, because I'm getting Nick and Gregor's jumping up and down because of the traffic behind us. You're getting carried away. So,
okay. I would go 2-3-1, I think, on that. 2-3-1.
2-3-1?
Yeah. Not last usual scenario for me. Yeah, here we go. We've got 3-2-1 from Jamie Thorne. We've got 1-2-3 from Susie Ennis, and 1-2-3 from Neil McIver. My nephew Stevie boy 2-1-3. He's always different. And he's back. He's back. We see there's an ugly mug on the feed here. He's
got the Havana.
I think he's had a couple of whiskies as well, but it looks at this.
But I think that's what it's all about, though, Brian. You know, it's everybody has their own views, their own opinions.
Absolutely.
I think I'm convincing a lot of people, though, because a lot of people are actually going for the rich sherry ones and agreeing for that top of the tree. I'm going to try to do it deliberately, and I suppose I am biased towards the sherry, because that.
Maybe you're all looking at me. That's not a bad thing.
More, obviously.
We lost connection.
Oh dear.
Glengarry Oak Cask, Macallan Estate, expensive, and even more expensive, Glenfiddich Grand Cru. So let's try and get tuppence worth in.
Anyway, guys,
can we get him?
I hope you're all enjoying my whiskey whilst I'm away. You've done a good job, but you're not as good looking.
Oh, I think
So
they just
I'm
literally
gonna-
watched that screen,
I
Brian.
think you just disproved that,
I'm
Graham.
going to slide out. So there's no confusion. It's like everything. It's a work in progress, but a good show. Slightly different variation. I'm up in Coiling Bridge, and the bitches are eating me to bits, so that's why I've had to cut in and out. So I'll leave it over to you guys. Hopefully everybody's had a good show. And remember, the 4th of September, and next week we're going to be having our warm-up thing. It's not a live show, but you can dial in and watch us. Guys, enjoy the race night, and I've marked those bottles, so if you bloody drink too much of it...
Thank you, Graham. We just about heard that. Obviously, the world record attempt, the 4th of September.
We'll reaffirm that.
Get it. Right,
We've got
come
the
out
votes
here.
in anyway. Thanks for your contribution there, Graham. The votes are in. What order will we go in? Drum roll. Glenfiddich, 47 votes. Macallan, 44 votes.
Oh,
Glengeary, 1.
who was it? Right, own up. Who were you?
I'm sorry, Brian. 101
Oh,
votes.
oh,
101
right.
votes.
Wow,
So
wow.
we've got to go for the Glengeary. So there's the glasses for that.
No, we got, that's a clean one there, yeah.
That far away one.
No, maybe one of those ones I like.
No, that's my
No, here it is, here.
It's
I've
good
got
there.
my notes on it.
So, but Graham thinks he's got to escape. We just put the Glengeary on, picks the cheapest of the 3. And obviously, I think it's been a rigged vote by him. Jamie Thorne, all these guys with Pallaway and the boys in the States, I bet he's been actually texting you what to vote for this. No happy. Well, it's actually a win-win for us, Brian, because you can take your choice home with you tonight. I'll take the other choice.
I'll just take bottles.
He's not here for a couple of days. So that's quite interesting. I say it's darker than I would normally expect for a virgin oak. It's American bourbon, so it's obviously well toasted cask. It's matured in. It looks nice. Give it a wee sugar in the glass. Leg, oh. Yeah, there we go. It's pretty quick. Yeah, the legs are short, very short.
Quickly,
A bit like Graham Blakey's legs, nice and short, just dropping away. I'll not go into that any further. But quite short legs on it. Glengeary Virgin Oak, I don't think it's age stated as well. No, 48% alcohol by volume. I've never tried this before.
Yeah.
So, on the nose, oh, that's very nice. Lovely on the nose, no smoke whatsoever coming on it. First thing you get is the sherry. You get vanilla coming through here, so the extra toasting is giving me some honey as well.
Okay,
Through. He's got you well primed for that. Floral's coming through there. It's like a chrysanthemum on the flower. It's really sort of soft, pleasant.
No, I'm not getting
No.
that. No. Vanilla, I'm getting the vanilla.
Vanilla, yeah. Interestingly enough, there's not much citrus in there. A bit orangey, a bit marmalade, but there's no lemon. We've not had any lime tonight at all. We've only had one green apple. Certainly no apples in that at all. I would call it quite disappointing on the nose, if you ask me. That virgin oaks sometimes are the better on the palate than on the nose. Because
I have to interrupt you there for a second. You're getting abuse for your wee fat legs online.
who's that for?
Well, I think you no need to ask that question. Sorry for interrupting.
I think I got that in first of right.
Yes, I think you did.
I got
I
that
think you're
first.
right. Pete.
Absolutely. I'm always, even when I'm wrong, I'm right. Yeah, it's actually quite disappointing. No, it's a bit caramel, a bit toffee, vanilla, orange marmalade, chrysanthemum. I get it as a wee bit of that. And I quite like the Glengeary normally, but as I say, generally first fill is usually quite expensive. Single cask first fills and that sort of thing. They can be disappointing in the nose, but I'm hoping it's better on the palate. So let's have a wee try. Oh, yeah, sherry. That's nice. That's just exactly what I said. You've got the sherry coming through, you've got the caramel toffee coming through, it's almost chocolatey. Raisins coming through now.
Yes, absolutely.
Raisins,
Yeah,
not quite
chocolate.
Christmas cake, but dried fruit. Now, when I say marmalade, if you know the two different things, you've got the lighter coloured marmalade, you've got the real thick cut, you call it, the blacker stuff.
Yeah.
That's what reminds me of there.
No,
It's actually
getting that.
far better on the palate, is what it is on the. Do you want that sheet up tonight? It's a hard one to plot actually, no, 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 that's fine. It's a hard one to plot.
Thank you very much.
I would plot it very close to yeah,
They're a bit heavier now with the water in it.
I would plot it very close to the ball when the double wood, to be honest with you. It's not far away from the centre, maybe just right off centre towards the rich side, as Graham calls it, the pure side, not the pure side. But certainly it's not delicate, there's no smoke whatsoever, so it's on the halfway line, on the horizontal line, and it's sitting in there. Back to the nose. The nose is disappointing, extremely disappointing. I'm getting very little from that, I'm getting some flowers, a wee bit caramel, a wee bit vanilla.
I'm afraid, Neil, that whilst Graham might not be here, his presence is being felt. His comments, your zip's not down, Neil. I can,
and I'm checking too.
I checked as well. I had a quick glance just to make sure he wasn't. But no, I think, can we block him?
Can I just block him?
We could probably block him.
Obviously, the plastic surgeon sewed up his lips, he's no tied up his fingernails.
I think he's had a bit of whiskey tasting tonight as well, by the looks of it.
As I say, the nose is, I would call it quite disappointing, really disappointing. But the palate,
yeah, it's taken away a lot of that power and it's much smoother now, isn't it?
It's really smooth, really rich marmalade, honey coming through there, a bit vanilla. But again, you're not getting the dryness coming through in that. It's really, really pleasantly sweet.
This is much better with water, isn't it?
Yeah. Sherry, you get a wee bit of the oak coming through, just a nice smooth oak coming through in it. But the finish is pretty long actually, it's longer than I would expect it to be. And it's just sweetness, fruit, dry fruit, the sultanas are coming through now. Prunes, aren't they? Oh, yeah, prunes like that?
No, I'm not getting prunes.
No?
My dad would get that, just prunes every morning.
Yeah, a bit like prunes. Very, very pleasant. So that's the director's dram for next week. Glengarry Virgin Oak Cask number 2. Well, disappointing in the palate and disappointing on the nose, but lovely palate in it. I must admit, I really enjoyed the palate of that.
I think we should both resign, Neil. His commentary from Mr. Blakey reminds me of a nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, I did say Brian's got a face for radio right now.
Well, that's it. We're not supporting America anymore.
Well, I think that's our taste as Brian's.
No, thank you very much, Neil. As always, it's been very educational. And folks, I can see on the screen, it's getting dark for us, seeing us on the screen. And thanks for your forbearance tonight. The pub is so busy, as I said, because Graham's not here and we had to decant out to the covered area outside, but hopefully it hasn't interfered with their enjoyment tonight, and we really hope to see you again next week.
Yeah,
and
well, next week, we've got a wee announcement for next week, Ryan, but before I go into that, I thank Ryan for coming on and deputising for Graham and making a 10 times better job than he could ever do. We've had a wee bit of sensibility.
For one time only.
One time only. A wee bit of sensibility on the show tonight, well, as best as you could get. But Brian, thanks very much.
You're very welcome.
It's been great doing it with you, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well. And enjoyed your wee drams.
No, it does, and I'll be back to sitting in my wee office next week, tasting the
back to normal.
Taste the whiskey.
As Brian alluded to next week, as you know, we're building up to 2 weeks tonight to the world record attempt. We're not allowed to say who's involved in it, but it's that Black Irish pint. It's they who record it all. They used to own the Black Irish pint. What's it called again? You know what I mean? We're going for that on the 4th of September at 8:30. It's only through Starleaf because we have to, through the I'm going to say it, the Guinness World Records, we have to account for every person that comes on. So we have to get a platform which records every person who's on. So get yourselves on your iPhones, your iPhones, iPads, get registered, get on your laptops. You can switch us off if you want and just put us on silent, but we need the numbers to be up there. So next week we're actually going to be preparing for that. We will be doing a show, but it won't be like this. There'll be a bit more interaction because we want to bring Starleaf in next week, so we can do, those of you who know Zoom, we can do 100 people on like a Zoom call, on a Starleaf call, which will be a conference call, so we can have you on looking at us, we looking at you, have a wee bit of interaction. We want to get everything right. We'll be announcing the whiskies on Monday, but I can say one of them, the main one for the record, is going to be Glenmorangie, because we're hoping to have a special guest from Glenmorangie on the world record attempt with us, who gives us a lot of credence as well, so hopefully he can make that. So next week, tune in, exactly the same 8:30, but the show will have a slightly different format, a wee bit of a rehearsal. It's going to be a rehearsal, a dress rehearsal. And unfortunately, we're going to break his face back here again to ruin the illusion that we have of us. So folks, once again, thanks very much for tuning in, and
One thing to say.
Absolutely.
Slange.